Boy, did I yap on that last video. My God. All right, guys. Like I said, like I promised, I'm going to be reading for 20 minutes. I got to hurry up and do this because I'm kind of tired. I need to go to bed. Okay. So, setting the timer for 20 minutes. As you guys can see. Watch Kai's video. He was saying that, 20 minutes is kind of, 30 minutes was a long time. 20 minutes wasn't long enough for him. So maybe I'm going to do 25 minutes then. That's somewhere in between. 25 minutes. Oh my goodness. That feel like a long time already to me. I didn't even start yet. All right. So I'm going to start off with chapter 1 and let's start. Okay, I have to make sure it's on. Now. Okay. Law number 1. Never outshine the master. Judgment. Always make those above you feel comfortably superior. In your desire to please and impress them, do not go too far in displaying your talents, or you might accomplish the opposite. Inspire fear and insecurity. Make your masters appear more brilliant than they are, and you will attain the heights of power. Nicholas Folk Lewis. I don't fucking know numbers. I don't know, 10, 15. Louis the 15th. Finance minister in the first. I promise you, I read better than this. On God. I'm getting cold feet. All right, let's get into it. Nicholas Fouquet, Louis the 15th. Finance minister in the first years of his reign, was a generous man who loved lavish parties, pretty women, and poetry. He also loved money. Did he not just say he loved money? Oh, no. He also loved money, for he led an extravagant lifestyle. Fouquet was clever and very much indispensable to the king. So when the prime minister, Jules Morazin, died in 1661, the finance minister expected to be named the successor. Instead, the king decided to abolish the position. This and other signs made Fouquet suspect that he was falling out of favor, and so he decided to integrate himself with the king by staging the most spectacular party the world had ever seen. The party's obstinable purpose will be to commemorate the completion of Fouquet's château. Oh my mama, bitch, put this shit in English, gang. What the fuck? Put this shit in standard ass English, gang. What the fuck is this? All these motherfucking French words getting away. Loxley, Forlaken. The fuck? But its real function was to pay tribute to the king, the guest of honor, the most brilliant notability of Europe, and some of the greatest minds of the L.A. of time. La Fonte, La Fortune, La Motion attended the party. Morgan wrote a play for the occasion in which he himself was to perform at the evening conclusion. The party began with a lavish 7-course dinner. Goddamn, what? Featuring foods from the Orient, never before tasted in France, as well as new dishes created especially for the night. The meal was accompanied with music commissioned by Fouquet to honor the king. After dinner, there was a prominent thorough Chaquet Gardens. And through Chaquet Gardens, the grounds of foundations of La Fontaine. Or y'all tell me y'all could fucking read the fuck this shit is. Loxley Vic Comet were to be the inspiration for Versailles. I don't know what any of these words are, bro. I know I just told y'all in the last video I was educated, I was smart and everything, but clearly the fuck not, bitch. Fouquet personally accompanied the young king through the geometrically aligned arrangements of shrubbery and flower beds. Arriving at the gardens canals, they witnessed a fireworks display, which was followed by the performance of Molière's play. The party ran well into the night, and everyone agreed it was the most amazing affair they had ever attended. The next day, Fouquet was arrested by the king's head musketeer, D'Amgoffon. 3 months later, he went on trial for stealing from the country's treasury. Actually, most of stealing he was accused of had done on the king's behalf and with the king's permission. Fouquet was found guilty and sent to the most insulated prison in France, high in the Pyrenees Mountains, where he spent the last 20 years of his life in solitary confinement. Jesus Christ. Interpretation. Louis XV, the Sun King, was a proud and arrogant man who wanted to be the center of attention at all times. He could not countenance being outdone by lavishness by anyone, and certainly not his finance minister. To succeed Fouquet, Louis Jean-Baptiste Colbert, a man famous for his parsimony, and for giving the dullest parties in Paris. Colbert made sure that any money liberated from the treasury went straight to Louis's hands. With the money, Louis built a palace even more magnificent than Fouquet's, a glorious palace of Versailles. He used the same architects, decorators, and garden designer at the Versailles. Louis hosted parties even more extravagant than the one that cost Fouquet his freedom. Let us examine this situation. The evening of the party, as Fouquet presented spectacular on spectacular to Louis, each more magnificent than the one before. He imagined the affair as demonstrating his loyalty and devotion to the king. Not only did he think the party would put him back in the king's favor, he thought it would show his good taste, his connections, and his popularity, making him indispensable to the king and demonstrating that he would make an excellent prime minister. Instead, however, each new spectacular, each appreciative smile bestowed by his guests on Fouquet made it seem to Louis that his own friends and subjects were more charmed by the finance manager than by king himself, than by the king himself, and that Fouquet was actually flaunting his wealth and power. Rather than flaunting, Louis XV, Fouquet's elaborate party offended the king's vanity. Louis would not admit this to anyone, of course. Instead, he found a convenient excuse to rid himself of a man who had inadvertently made himself feel made him feel insecure. Such is the fate in some form or other of those who unbalance the master's sense of self, poke holes in his vanity, or make him doubt his preeminence. Okay, and here's a quote. When the evening began, Fouquet was at the top of the world. By the time it ended, he was at the bottom. By whoever fuck this is. Voltaire. Volt, Voltaire. I don't fucking know, buddy. Voltaire. This is in French, by the way. I'm sorry if I'm messing this up. Some of these words are in French, and I can't read French, my boy. Surveillance of the law. In the early 1600s, the Italian astronomer and mathematician Galileo found himself in a precarious position. He depended on the generosity of great rulers to support his research. And so, like Renaissance scientists, excuse me, please, he would sometimes make gifts of inventions and discoveries to the leading patrons of the time. Once, for instance, he presented a military compass he invented to the Duke of Gonzaga. Then he dedicated a book explaining the use of the compass to the medicines. Both rulers were grateful, and through them Galileo was able to find more students to teach. No matter how great the discovery, however, his patrons usually paid him with gifts, not cash. This made for a life of constant insecurity and dependence. There must be an easier way, he thought. Galileo hit a new strategy in 1610 when he discovered the moons of Jupiter. Instead of dividing, how the fuck you find the boy? When was the goddamn telescope invented? How you see the moons of Jupiter back then? I feel like all this is just a lie to me. Instead of dividing the discovery among his patrons, giving one the telescope he had used, dedicating a book to another, and so on as he had done in the past, he decided to focus exclusively on medicines. He chose the medicines for one reason. Shortly after Cosmo, I had established the medicine dynasty in 1540. He had a Jupiter. He had made Jupiter the mightiest of the gods. The medicine symbol, a symbol of power that went beyond politics and banking, one linked to ancient Rome and its divinities. Galileo turned his discovery of Jupiter's moon into a cosmic event. honoring the medicine's greatness. Shortly after discovering, he announced that the brightest stars, moons of Jupiter, offered themselves in the heavens, offered themselves in the heavens to his telescope at the same time as the as Cos, Cosmo II's enthronement. He said that the number of moons, four, harmonized the number of medicines. Um, Cosmo II had three brothers, so it kind of showed all four of the brothers on there. And that the moons orbited Jupiter as these four suns revolved around Cosmo the first. The dynasty's founder, more than coincidence, this showed that the heavens themselves reflected the ascendance of the medicine's family. After he dedicated the discovery to medicine, Galileo commissioned an emblem representing Jupiter sitting on a cloud with four stars circling about him, and presented this to Cosmo II as a symbol of his link to the stars. My mouth is so dry right now. I don't even know if I could how much longer I can do this. I got 9 minutes left. That shit dry. Bitch, I'm fucking sleepy. My goddamn mouth is fucking dry as a bitch. And I'm not used to sitting places for a long time, for long periods of time. And I can't fucking read this book. I can read this book. But I'm sleeping in a book. Alright, come on, back to reading. Galileo, his core philosopher and mathematician with a full salary. In 1610, Cosmo made Galileo his official core philosopher and mathematician with a full salary. For scientists, this was a coup of a lifetime. I'm sorry. The days of begging, patronage, are over. The days of begging for patronage are over. Bitch! Interpretation. In one stroke, Galileo gained more with his new strategy. Interpretation. In one stroke, Galileo gained more with his new strategy than he had in years of begging. The reason is simple. All masters want to appear more brilliant than other people. They do not care about the science or empirical truth or the latest invention. They care more about their name and their glory. Galileo gave the medicines infinitely more glory by linking their name to the cosmic forces than he had by making them patrons of some new scientific gadget or discovery. Scientists are not spared in the vagaries of court life and patronage. They too must serve masters who hold the purse strings. And the greatest intellectual powers can make the master feel insecure, as if he were only there to supply su- mm, to supply the funds. An ugly, ignoble job. Ignoble job. The producer of a great work wants to feel he is more than just the provider of the financing. He wants to appear creative and powerful, and also more important than the work produced in his name. Instead of insecurity, you must give him glory. Galileo did not challenge the intellectual authority of the medics with his discovery or make them feel inferior in any way. By literally aligning them with the stars, he made them shine brilliantly among the courts of Italy. I know y'all probably like, why did I read that word like that? But it's my mouth is literally so dry it's hard to say words now. Among the courts of Italy, he did not outshine the master. He made the master outshine all the others. Keys to power. Everyone has insecurities. When you show yourself, when you show yourself in the world and display your talents, you naturally stir up all kinds of resentment, envy, and other manifestations of insecurity. This is to be expected. You cannot spend your life worrying about the petty feelings of others. Those above you, however, you must take a different approach. When it comes to power, outshining the master is perhaps the worst mistake of all. Do not fool yourself into thinking that life has changed much since the days of Louis XV and the medicines. Those who attain high standards in life are like kings and queens. They want to feel secure in their positions and superior to those around them with intelligence, wit, and charm. It is a daily but common misinterpretation to believe that by displaying and vaunting your gifts and talents, you are winning the master's affection. You may feign appreciation, but at first, but at his first opportunity, he will replace you with someone less intelligent, less attractive, less threatening. Just as Louis XV replaced the sparkling Fouquet with the Corbett, the bland Corbett. And as this Louis, he will not admit the truth, will find an excuse to rid himself of your presence. This law involves two rules that you must realize. First, you can inadvertently outshine a master simply by being yourself. There are masters who are more insecure than others. Monstros and Montros monstrosity. I don't feel like I'm saying that. Monstrosity. Monstro Owensly. Insecure. Oh well, fuck it. I'm sorry, I don't know that word. Monstrously insecure. You may naturally outshine them by your charm and grace. No one had more talent than Astor Manfredi, the Prince of Frenza, the most handsome of all of the princes of Italy. He capitalized his subjects with generosity and open spirit. In the year 1500, Caesar Borgia laid sail to Fonza, Faenza. When the city surrendered, the citizens expected the worst from the cruel Borgia, who, however, decided to spare the town. He simply occupied his fortress, executed none of its citizens, and allowed Prince Manfred, 18 at the time, to remain with his court to complete freedom. A few weeks later, though, soldiers hauled. I'm finna just actually. All right, my timer is up now, but one thing I'm gonna start to do is keep this phone next to me so I could Google some of these words. I noticed that Kai wasn't ashamed or shy of Googling some of these words. But like literally, guys, I'm sorry. I'm gonna show y'all some of these words that I'm struggling to freaking read, and y'all to let me know if y'all know some of these words. So like right here, like what is this? What is this? Am I tripping? Like, is this Frenza? Faenza? F-A-E. It gotta be like Faye, right? So Faenza. S-E. S-A-R. Caesar. Why didn't y'all just spell it like Caesar that we all used to seeing? I read Galileo. I think I read that right. But like some of these other words, like bro, like Nicholas Fouquet. Let me know if that's right. Nicholas Fouquet. La Fontaine. Fontaine. I didn't know how to read that. I for damn sure don't know how to read this right here. La Rochefoucauld. I didn't know. I for sure don't know how to read this word. I don't know some of these shits. I don't know what the fuck this is. That's a bunch of words in here I don't know. But I guess that's what we're gonna learn. Like, I guess it's some of the things that we're gonna learn. So I appreciate you guys for staying with me in this video. And there'll be more to come. And we're just gonna be reading the 48 Laws of Power together. And we're gonna learn this stuff. So, man, my mouth is dry right now. I cannot say another word. Thank you guys, because I'm dead tired. You guys have a great one.